Hi guys, before I start the last episode of the year, I just want to say a big thank you to Lee Hall, to MC Cyanide, to Rob Kane, DJ Macca, Edge MC, DJ Vibes, Mark Simon, Paulo H, Les Calvert, the JFMC, Robbie Edwards, City G, Stevie Wonder, ADF, MC Lively, DJ Reckless, and of course today's guest, MC Hurricane. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. And I also want to say a big, massive thank you to all the people who tuned into the podcast in the past, I think it's about 10 months now, is it? About 10 months in. Yeah, I had some fantastic feedback, and this is not the end. It's just the end of the year. We're going to carry on next year. Got some fantastic guests lined up again, some fantastic stories. So without further ado, on to today's episode. Thanks again, guys. Have a fantastic Christmas and a safe new year, and I'll see you all in 2023.
The Couture 303 podcast with J Viper.
Well, it's frosty outside, there's a nip in the air, there's ice on the roads, but I'm joined in studio today by a very windy individual. It's MC Hurricane.
How we doing, Jay?
I'm fucking superb, guys. I feel like we've done this before. A bit of a deja vu element, isn't it? Oh, I got you all set for Christmas, mate?
Not really, no. I leave everything till the last minute.
Really?
Like lastminute.com.
Yeah? You're not a Black Friday deals kind of a guy, no?
Nah, Christmas Eve, I'll be out there just...
You're that guy, aren't you? Yeah. In the shop, budging past everyone. So we're going to kick off. We're going to pull the Christmas cracker here and see if there's a little joke in there. Here we go. Put your hat on, guys. Look at that. Pink and gold. Very fitting. Woo. So my joke says, comedian Peter Kay said, with the cost of living at an all-time high, ticket prices are going to start from £35. Do you know how much front row seats are for Peter Kay?
Don't know, go ahead.
£151.
Whoa.
And he's acknowledged the cost of living, and yet he's charging couples in excess of £300. So that's the first joke. Let's see. Let's pull another one. Here we go. Oh yeah, look at that. What have I got? Green and gold. Oh, my favourite. Okay. My joke says, according to DJ Magazine, 100 best DJs in the world, there's currently only 6 DJs on the whole planet better than Steve Aoki. I don't really get that. Not really
popularity contest.
Not really funny, is it? Anyway, but yeah. So Christmas is round the corner, mate. And you're not got anything in? No.
I bought the turkey. We got the turkey the other day. We're doing Christmas dinner ourselves.
So
me and the missus.
Yeah.
We got the turkey. We've got the gammon.
Oh, nice. Good choice.
So turkey and gammon, yeah. But apart from presents and stuff like that, Christmas Eve I'll be out for the shop.
I'll make it easy for you, Gary. You don't need to buy me nothing, mate, okay?
Jay, I've already got you something.
I feel bad now, just give him a Christmas cracker. Anyway, we'll Christmas cracker on with the podcast. So, as I always do with all my guests, we're going to go right back to the start. So, Gary, where and when were you born, mate?
I was born in Liverpool, August 1977, in Oxford Street Hospital.
Yeah.
Grew up in a little village called Stonycroft, which is just in between West Derby and Old Swan. No one knows Stonycroft. Yeah. When you say to someone, yeah, I'm from Stonycroft, they're like, where the fuck's that?
Yeah, where is it?
So it's either Old Swan, West Derby, but it's in between, and it's a boss area.
Yeah.
You know, I love growing up there.
Yeah.
Had a lovely childhood.
School? What was you like in school?
I was okay in school.
Yeah.
Junior school. I was good in junior school. When I got to senior school, I became a little bit of a pain in the arse. Yeah. I
think a lot of lads do, don't they, really?
Yeah, it became a little bit of a pain in the arse and ended up annoying the teachers and got kicked out, really. But
Did you ever smash any bus stops, Gary?
No, that weren't my thing. That weren't my thing.
No. So that's junior school. Did that progress into senior school? Did you get better or worse as you went into seniors?
Sorry, when I got to seniors, I was a pain in the arse.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, when I got to seniors, I became a pain in the arse.
Yeah.
But, just doing... I was like the class clown, do you know what I mean? I just wanted to, like, make everyone laugh all the time and just became a bit of a knob, really.
Yeah. So what were your musical influence back then? Is your family listening to music? Have you got any older brothers or sisters?
Yeah, so I've got an older brother.
Yeah.
Musical influences. My dad was on he was on a game show years ago called Celebrity Squares.
Yes,
I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember Celebrity Squares.
He was on that, and he won a record player. Like, remember those big Ferguson record players, like a meter by half.
Like a coffin lid thing.
And it had like a record player and a tape deck. So I remember we had that in the house, and my mum and dad were always into Motown. We had a good record collection. Yeah. To be honest with you, my mum and dad had all the Motown records, all like the
Northern Soul and all that.
Yes.
Stylistics, Temptations.
Like, and we always had like the Smash Hits 1 and Smash Hits. Yeah. And me and my brother, like, we just used to scratch hell out of my mum and dad's records, thinking we were DJs. Yeah. Just scratch them to fuck. But and we used to have we'd have a mic that you could plug in, but it weren't like your normal Shure SM15 type of mic. It was just like a little tiny mic, and we'd plug that in, and I'd try and like sing or rap over it, and just just try and do our thing. But we were only like 4 or 5.
It's funny, isn't it? Because like, I think if you grow up in a musical household, if music's a big thing, like for some families, film's a big thing, or TV's a big thing, or some people are into the wine and cheese and all that kind of stuff. Whatever you grow up with, that it kind of puts you on that path. So I've always said, if your mum and dad are alcoholics, there's a good chance you're either going to be an alcoholic or a fucking counsellor. Do you know what I mean? It's one or the other, isn't it?
Exactly.
So obviously, like a lot of kids, then you're messing around with a whole player. I remember before I had decks, we had I think it was an Iowa stack system.
Yeah, I used to have an Iowa stack system.
Iowa was the fucking bomb, mate. Yeah. It was fucking decent stuff. I don't know where it's gone. Like it was always quite reasonably priced as well. Yeah. If you compare like an Iowa to a Panasonic or a Sony, it was
Iowa was good, mate.
Yeah, it was decent. I had a lot of Iowa stuff, and we had this stack system in the living room, and I went and bought a slip mat. So I could scratch the fucking thing, and when I lost, no crossfader. Yeah. So
I think when we were scratching me mum and dad's records,
he was just scratching them.
That's what we missed, was a slip mat.
Yeah, because the bottom, the top of the vinyl is okay. It's the bottom scratching against the fucking plastic, rubbing all the grooves off.
Like brand new Lionel Richie records with just ruined.
Once, twice. So when did you start getting into like the more like the dance scene and the rave culture?
Well, I think with the dance music, whatever my brother was into, I was into. Yeah. I just followed whatever he done. So whatever he was into, I was into. And so he was always like going to quad. He had like the quad music and stuff like that.
How much older is your brother to you?
He's like 3 years older than me.
Okay, so he's
2 years in school, 3 years.
Yeah, so he's similar age to me. I'm 47 now. You'll be
45.
45, yeah. So he's 50, isn't he? No, he's 48.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he's a year older than me. Yeah. 2 years older. Come on.
Well, yeah. So whatever he was into, I was into. But then I remember I found this. I didn't find this. Someone lent it to me. A Fantasia tape.
Yeah.
From it was like summertime '92. DJ SS and DJ Fantasy.
Yeah.
With MC Robbie D and Joe Peng, and there was another MC on it as well. MC Jack Horner.
Yeah.
And I just remember hearing the MCs on that tape, and I was just like, oh my god, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I just love the MCs on it. I mean, the music on it was boss.
Yeah.
But it was the MCs for me. I was just like, oh my god, the things they are coming out with.
Yeah.
And it just got me hooked, and I was just like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So on the Iowa stack system,
Shabba.
got myself a mic from Tandy.
A realistic one?
I don't even know.
That was their own make. It was again. Was that decent? Yeah.
I don't even know what make it was, but I remember getting this mic.
Radio Shack in America. There's Tandy over there,
and I'd plug it up to my Iowa stack system, and whatever tape didn't have an MC on, I'd try and MC to it, and then Stu Allen Key 103. I think it was on a Sunday night at that time, Sunday night, and I put it on, and I'd try and MC live to it, you know what I mean? And I'd try and blag people that, I was on Key 103.
If you're in our kitchen, they've heard it.
Yeah. But, so like he used to make all these tapes and stuff like that of me and Stu Allen.
Yeah. He's not here to defend himself now either, is he? God bless him.
Mate, God bless him.
Oh, what a fucking legend. Absolutely. I mean, we've mentioned him a few times on here. We went to his memorial thing in Bowlers. Wow, what a send-off that was.
Do you know what? I'm so gutted I didn't go to that. I'd have loved to have went to that.
In the words of Stu Allen, it was fucking large.
Yeah, I can imagine. And do you know that word legend just gets thrown about willy-nilly, but that man was a legend.
Yeah, he really was.
He was a really nice guy as well. I met him a few times, and some DJs back then, they were up their own arses.
Pretentious, yeah. We've had this conversation, yeah.
He was just like, he was a proper nice guy.
Yeah.
And, rest in peace, Stu Allen, mate.
So when I started, a little bit of history now. So when I started Couture 303, it came about, I wanted to make a logo of a brand that was synonymous with the dance music scene, obviously. Yeah. If you look at like the fighting, you've got like Venom and Tap Out and stuff like that. Yeah. And, football, you've got like, like Umbro and all these names that are synonymous with a certain type of sport. Or whatever. There was nothing that summed up dance music. So I came up with Couture 303.
Yeah.
And I reached out. I think the first person I reached out to was DJ Demand. And he said he'd wear one of my t-shirts, which I was fucking honoured. Absolutely fucking blown away. Couldn't believe DJ Demand is going to wear a t-shirt with my logo on. And I said to him, quite cheekily, I said, do you know anyone else like, did you speak to Stu Allen? Yeah. And he said, I'll ask Stu. So I thought none of it. And then 2 weeks later, I got a message back off Paul, DJ Demand, saying, Stu and his manager said they'll wear the t-shirt. And I could not believe it. Stu Allen, this is, like you say, he is a fucking legend. He was, for many of us, he was the introduction to dance music. Yeah. That's full stop. Piccadilly Key 103 is where we all heard Now Is the Time and Turn That Motherfucker and Bam 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 and all that, all these tunes. Go on.
And every time you'd see Stu Allen's name on a flyer, you knew it was going to be a good night.
100%.
You knew that night was going to be rammed. You best be there early.
Stu Allen, Ultrasonic, Carl Cox. They're the three names that if you seen them on a flyer, especially for the Drome, you knew you were in for a good night.
Yeah.
And I said this before. I think I said this just after he passed away. I walked into Back to the Docks 5th anniversary party, and I walked in the hardcore room, and DJ Demand was DJing with my t-shirt on. Yeah. And I had the fucking cheesiest of grin. And I walked in the main room, and when I walked in the main room, I looked towards the decks, and there was Tatesy from Awesome 3 wearing one of my caps and t-shirts, Stu Allen with one of my t-shirts on, and his manager. And honest to God, they talk about like, your kids being born, which is obviously a fantastic moment. Apart from my kids being born, that was probably one of the proudest moments of my life. Yeah. This is Stu Allen. And, as you said before, he didn't have to. He could have just turned around and said, who the fuck's this kid? No chance I'm wearing one of his fucking... Yeah. But he wore one of my t-shirts for no gain to himself, other than he got a fucking, a t-shirt out of it. And it was a fucking... It was an amazing experience. It really was.
What a guy, mate. What a guy.
Oh, yeah. So rest in peace, Stu. So you're MCing to Stu Allen. We digressed a little bit there. You're MCing to Stu Allen. When did it progress from more of a kitchen and fucking living room thing?
It took a while, really, because I was... so I did that tape, Fantasia, and I was like listening to Stu Allen and MCing over Stu Allen on Key 103 in my bedroom, and started going to the Cokie, Kids Cokie.
Yeah.
And it was like that was when I proper heard like music, like rave music out loud.
Who was on there at the time?
Funny enough, DJ Christian.
Yeah.
But I didn't know Christian at the time.
Yeah.
But he was the DJ in the Kids Cokie. And so I'm in the Kids Cokie and I was like, I love just being out, just hearing the music live. And then there was a Kids Drome. I seen the flyer for the Kids Drome as well. So I'm only like 15 at this time, 14, 15, maybe, something like that. And the Kids Drome started going to that. But they didn't have an MC in the Kids Drome.
Yeah.
They didn't have an MC in the Kids Cokie. And I hadn't really built up enough confidence at the time to sort of like give us a go with the mic.
Yeah.
So I was just practicing in my bedroom. And
did you have a name then? Were you...
No, I was just like...
MC Gary or something?
Yeah, just doing it.
In the 90s, MC Gary would have been a nice little name. Well, Garys were quite popular.
Do you know what? I suppose you're right there. I should have went with just
MC Gary Ablett.
Yeah, I should have went with that, yeah. But yeah, on the name thing, I remember like all the MCs back then were all like, you know, Cyanide and, you know, names like that, and I was just like, I've got to think of a good name.
Yeah.
And me and mate, we were just sitting there and we were like, what can we, and we just come up with Hurricane.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm like, do you know what, yeah, Hurricane, a lot of things rhyme with Hurricane, and
yeah.
so went with that.
It's mad, isn't it? Because one of the biggest MCs in the hardcore scene of all time is MC Storm.
Yeah.
And a very, very similar, you know, you wonder, like, if you hadn't took that name, would they have took that one? You might have been MC Storm.
Yeah.
Go on, mate.
So, yeah, I went to Kids Drome and then plucked up the courage. I'm like, just turned 16, and seeing, like, Stu Allen was on in the proper Drome, the adult one. I was like, I've got to go to that. You know, this is like January 94.
Yeah.
So
that's before I went there.
Yeah, I'd not long just turned 16, and I was like, I'm going to that night.
Yeah. Was Dave Graham on still then, or was it?
No,
was it 6 minutes?
It had switched from. I think Dave Graham finished in like September '93.
Yeah, and went to the start of 05, didn't he?
Yeah. And then it had gone from Dave Graham to Trix and Philly.
Yeah.
So January '94, I'm like, yeah, I've got to go to this Stu Allen night.
Yeah.
Gets in there. I remember turning up. In fact, just before we got there, one of the lads who we went with, he was like, we got off at Central Station, and he was like, should we just go the 051? And me and my mate were like, no, Stu Allen's on in the Drome. We're going to Drome.
Yeah.
Like that. And so we were like, no, we're going to Drome. And in the end, this other lad was like, come on, I'll just come to Drome with yous. And so glad we ended up making it.
Yeah.
Gets to the Drome, big massive queue, gets in there. And I just remember like seeing Cyanide on the stage, just with all these lyrics, and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
At the time, I don't think, I say Liverpool because he's from Liverpool, and there was a lot of us went over to Birkenhead. At the time, there was no one like Glenn.
No.
There really wasn't. No. You know, I know he had his haters and stuff, but I think a lot of the haters are just fucking, you know, trolls basically, and jealous people and all that. But at the time, there was no one like Cyanide. I that's my opinion anyway.
Mate, I've got a lot to thank for Cyanide, because, you know, he'd give me like me first break.
Yeah.
But yeah, before that, I had the Dave Graham and Cyanide tape. And I was just like, oh my God, this MC on this is like...
Yeah, fire.
Yeah.
Jump around, oh, wind your body, yes.
And I was just like, oh my God, I've got to
be like that.
I've got to get some of this. Yeah. So, Stu Allen in the Drome, Cyanide's on. And I'm just like, yeah, this is me, this.
Yeah.
And like, I'd go near enough every week. And I'd ask, can I have a go? And, you know, I must have sounded like Yozza Hughes, gives a job.
Well, the thing is, as well, back then, how many people do you reckon were saying that?
Yeah.
I can do that, mate. Give us a go.
And you know what? I was only this, like, little 16-year-old blonde hair, glasses. Do you know what I mean?
You were still tall back then, though. I remember you were tall for your age. I didn't know you were only 16 back then.
And he's probably looking at me thinking, you're not getting on the mic. Like that. And I used to bug him every week. Gives a go to the mic. You know, and
because for the longest time as well, it was just Cyanide, wasn't it? You know, you'd have guests now and again. You know, when you'd have a big night on. Obviously, you'd have the likes of Ultrasonic didn't really MC, but they played their own set, and Ultimate Buzz had MCB, and then they started going down the route of like Kinetic, where they had the likes of Majika and Man Paris and Sticksman and all that kind of stuff. But for the majority of the time,
it was
just Cyanide. So you were really fucking, you're setting your standards high by asking, like.
Yeah, and you know, I was probably the 9th person that night to ask him, because everyone was probably like, come on, give us a go. And he'd never let me on.
Yeah.
But I remember, I think the Drome shut down for a little bit, and that Impact, he opened up Impact, and I remember asking him for a go with the mic in him, and he was like, no, you're not getting on. And he left the mic unattended.
Oh, schoolboy Eric Glenn.
And you don't do that with me. You don't leave a mic unattended with me, especially when I was young coming up. And I just grabbed the mic and just started emceeing. And I remember he ran up, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Like that. And we had like a little bit of a scuffle, just And nothing happened. And he was just like, you can't just grab the mic like that. And I was like, all right, mate, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have grabbed the mic. Do you know what I mean? But
he must have heard something he liked.
And then, he never let me carry on that night. But moving on a bit, like, I started my own night. I was like, I couldn't get on anywhere.
Yeah.
It was hard to get on.
To close circles. It's the same with DJs.
It was hard to get on anyway. I'd send tapes off left, right and centre, and you just couldn't get on. So I started my own night. A mate of mine, he knew these doormen in a club in Widnes.
Yeah.
And they introduced us to the owner. And they were like, yeah, start your own night.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
What night did you have?
It was called Addiction in Cleo's in Widnes.
Yeah.
And
what night was it? Friday?
It was Saturday night.
Fucking I did alright there then, mate.
And basically it was just to try and get on somewhere, get me, like, me mates who, there was like a lot of DJ mates and stuff like that. I thought, you know what, I'll just get me mates on it, as you do, get your mates on. Me and Frosty were the MCs, and I thought I need like a bit of a name DJ.
Yeah.
So I asked Christian.
Yeah.
Christian on there.
I have to remember that, now you mentioned it, I remember it.
Yeah. So we got Christian on there. And yeah, so Christian had done it, started doing a few weeks. He was the resident, and he brought Glenn with him.
Yeah.
So Glenn was MCing as well, and then Glenn heard me MCing it.
There you go.
And he must have thought, you know what, he's actually alright, this lad. And then I just started like going with Glenn and Christian all the time, wherever they were on. I'd go with them, and then started gaining a few bookings like that. And like when Glenn would do his nights, he'd book me for it.
You did end up on Impact, didn't you?
No. Not as like I was never on a flyer in Impact.
Ardshock?
No.
Where have I seen your?
Bubbling. It was
Bubble. That's it.
Heaven.
Fucking, I knew it was one of them. Yeah.
Pickwicks.
Yeah.
So Heaven. Like Glenn, he was the resident MC for Heaven.
Yeah.
And he started a hardcore night. So I jumped on the hardcore nights with him.
Because I remember back in the day seeing your name quite a bit about.
Yeah.
And obviously memory served me fucking incorrectly. Like I thought it was Impact, but obviously it must have been Bubble. Yeah, Bubble. Fucking hell, remember that?
Yeah.
Wow, you've literally just fucking brought back a memory there. Yeah. I completely forgot about that.
I mean, them nights, they were brilliant nights. Them hardcore nights. It was just a shame they didn't carry on. It was like Heaven as a club. It reminded me of the Drome.
Yeah.
The way it was set out.
Yeah.
It was like that long type of club,
Yeah.
Long ways, and where the stage was, it was like a little replica of the Drome. It was a brilliant club.
In the middle of nowhere, is that one by the bus depot, wasn't it? Fraser Street?
Yeah, by the National Express.
That's right, yeah.
National Express station, yeah. It was good.
I went there one night with Ian Redman. We were, I think we were playing at the Milky Bar, which ended up being the Pleasure Rooms.
Yeah.
And he was getting more bookings than me even back then. Like he was only a kid, and we turned up there, and I remember fucking going. I think there was me, Rob Kane, and Ian Redman, and of course them two fucking went fucking
skyrocketed.
Absolutely fucking atomic, didn't he?
Well, I remember back in the day we used to do these under 18s nights, me and Christian in Maxime's under 18s, and Ian Redman, who was
DJ Flip,
DJ Flip at the time, and Rob Kane was just Kane. They were doing these under 18s nights as well, and they were good little nights, Maxime's. They
had potential. I mean, I remember the first time I met Ian, he was working in Plastic Records, and the guy who ran it, Conan, I went in one day, and I was kind of mates with Conan at the time. I used to spend a bit of time with him, and I walked in this one day, and he went, "This is Ian. He's working in the shop now." And he went to Ian. This is Viper, and I always remember he went, "Are you Viper? Yeah." Oh, like giddy stuff, and like fucking fast forward 6 months, he's on fucking top of the pops.
Yeah, he's fucking metal. I mean, fair play to them too. Like they have
smashed it,
absolutely smashed it.
I'm both really nice guys. I mean, I've reached out to Ian a few times, but he's literally every time you see his Instagram, he's fucking. He doesn't drive, but he's up and down the fucking motorways. He's all over the place, and he's fucking smashing it. Fair play to him. But if you are listening, Ian, or if anyone who's listening knows of Ian Redman, He knows what I'm going to say. I've invited you again. I'm inviting you once more. Fucking get on my show.
Yeah, get down here.
Yeah, it's not a bad little studio, is it?
Yeah, it's alright. It's comfy.
So did you ever play in the Drome? You played in the Drome as well then?
Towards the end, so this was before I actually knew Glenn properly in the Drome. So towards the end, it would have been about the end of '97, and it, the Drome was sort of like it was fading out then.
Yeah.
And I remember this one night, it was there was other MCs on. I think it might have been MC Express, maybe.
It'll be Express and Edge. It'll be Express, Edge and Coxie, maybe.
And Edge and Cox. There was a few other MCs on, and I was like, I'm getting a go on.
Yeah.
So I said to Glenn, can I go on? And he went, come on then, yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't as nice anymore, so he's like, fucking have a go.
And Christian, I remember MCing for Christian. And Christian, I hope he thought I was alright, because I ended up, doing quite a few more gigs with him. So yeah, ended up MCing with Christian on that night. And then said to Glenn, can I come back next week, MC next week?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, come back next week. And Vinyl Groover was on.
Yes, Scott.
The week after, yeah.
Another legend that were on the show.
And I've MC'd for Vinyl Groover a good few times since then as well. So
big Liverpool fan, isn't he?
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're a Liverpool fan because harking back to the days, one of your lyrics contained the phrase, and I'll let you do it. Don't let me butcher it. Go on.
I used to mention Michael
Put him right on the spot, yeah.
I used to mention Michael Owen in one of my lyrics, but do you know what? Footy now, I can't stand footy now.
Really?
I really can't stand it. I just hate the way it's gone.
Yeah.
I used to really, follow Liverpool. I used to be a mad Liverpool fan. But just the way footy's gone now, I hate it.
Yeah. Money. Yeah, it's all money. I've never been a football fan anyway.
It's been ruined. So yeah. Footy can go and fuck itself.
Yeah. fuck you, football. If you listen to FIFA, kiss me ass.
Yeah.
So, did you ever DJ MC for Tricks?
I did a little bit. Only probably about half an hour in heaven.
Yeah.
The first night, on the first bubbling night.
Yeah.
I did about half an hour with Tricks. But I don't think Tricks likes MCs apart from Glenn.
Yeah.
Because he knows he can work with Glenn.
Yeah.
So I did about half an hour with Tricks.
Yeah. I think Tricks, I don't think people realise or appreciated how good he was.
Yeah.
I think we just kind of took it for granted. Obviously we were like fucking DJ nerds, so we knew what was going on. But we'd heard he was this DMC guy and he'd won the European Mixing Championships and stuff like that. But I don't think we really appreciated how good. I mean, at one stage, have you seen the DMC stuff of him?
Yeah, I've watched
on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
He's fucking sensational. There's parts of that you watch it and he's doing all the under the leg and behind the back thing and all that. And one point he's using his arse to use the crossfade there. Yeah. He's fucking mustard, absolutely mustard. Even, I mean, to get to DMC level is crazy. To win the European Championships, and he got in. I think he came third in the world or third in the UK twice.
And when you look at some of them DJs out there to be in that sort of company, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then for us to be able to have him as a resident at our local club.
Again, like I say, I don't think people appreciated it, and I think they just took for granted because the style he played was unbelievable as well. You know, the European techno and the hard trance, Before it was popular, obviously the mainstream at that time was like house music, and then obviously the Cream was coming up with the commercial, more Balearic floaty trance.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even he was before his time.
What I found with the Drome, though, Jay, was it changed its music style too often. I don't know if it was just trying to move with the times, but you had your Dave Graham stuff with your breakbeat and hardcore jungle-y type music, and then when Tricks came, it was pretty bouncy, like this Italian house, and then it suddenly changed to trance, and then from trance to hardcore, and it was I don't know if it sort of found its niche. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was sort of
for me, it was that era. It was the 94 to 95 era. when you had Six and Philly banging out like the fucking the German stuff and all that. That to me was a special time, and it should have stayed like that.
That was my favourite time.
Yeah.
Like when it went into the trance era, like when you was getting like Westbam, Marussia, Mario de Bellis and all these. It was still bouncy, but it had that dark edge to it.
Yeah, it definitely had a dark edge.
It had that dark edge to it, and the lights in there, and even like just talking about it now, I've got goosebumps on the back of my neck. Do you know, like you'd walk in and you go up them stairs and you just see the heads bouncing.
And they had the laser. It was like going into a tunnel, wasn't it, with the smoke?
Yeah, it was just something else. But yeah, I don't think it found its niche market.
Yeah.
As in like, because you'd say to someone, I went to Drome, and they go, oh yeah, don't like all that hardcore. But you'd be like, no, it's not hardcore, it's trance.
Yeah.
But then it changed to hardcore. It was just like, yeah.
You know the story about that? Did you listen to the podcast with Glenn Cyanide?
Yeah.
And basically, for anyone who's not if you haven't listened to that episode, by the way, you should go back and listen to it. But yeah, Glenn told me that on the podcast that the plan for the Drome was to go down the route of Cream and be more like trance. But the Cream basically said to all their DJs, you know, at the time, like your Paul Van Dykes and your fucking Armin van Buurens and all them, you play if you play here, you don't play there. Which is it's just you know, it's just tactics in it. But if anyone's listening to this who hasn't seen DJ Tricks in the DMC, go on YouTube. I think there's 3 videos on there. His winning set from the European finals in '89, and I think, if memory serves me correctly, 90 and 91 when he went for the UK title. And I think he came 3rd in both of them.
Yeah.
And there's also a guy called DJ David, a German guy. Fuck me, I've never seen hand speed like it. There's parts of his set, it's ridiculous. He's one point his hand speed's that fast, it looks like it speeds it up.
Yeah, quicker hands than Floyd Mayweather, yeah.
Quicker hands than fucking anyone. And then he starts scratching with his head. And then he takes his sock off and starts scratching with his foot. And I swear to God, he's scratching with his elbow. And at one point, he put his hand by his waistband, and I thought, if he gets his cock out now and starts scratching, I am going to fucking sell my dicks. No, he doesn't. But fuck, honest to God. Yeah, DJ David in the DMC. Go back and watch that. Anyway, we digressed a little bit. So, where are we now? We're late 90s then, and you played in the Heaven and stuff?
Before that, though, as well, I met Frosty, one of my mates, Frosty, who was like I MC'd a lot with, is we used to have these parties on a boat, or I should say the ship. I don't know if you ever remember it. It was like right opposite the yard dock. There used to be this ship, and one of our mates, it was like a well-known club owner, bought this ship.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do parties on the ship, but it was just like docked up at the moment. I don't think he like got any license or anything to do these parties. And one of our mates, he was they'd asked him to be security on the ship, and basically just live on the ship. So it was right opposite the yard dock. But he just come down and sit off with us on the ship. Next minute, we'd have a set of decks on the ship. It's just an organic party started, didn't it? It just progressed. We'd have it was just like progressed from like 10 of us. We'd just have this like little party, and then all of a sudden, you were getting people coming back from the yard dock, the 051, and we were having like parties with like 100, 150 people on the ship. It was like, do you ever remember the Royal Iris?
Yes, like the ferry one.
It was the same size as that, so it was a
decent capacity.
It was a decent capacity, and like these parties just progressed. Every Saturday night, you'd have like some sort of party, and that's how I met Frosty. Yeah. Still speak to Phil? Yeah, still speak to him now. He came to me last gig, just to come and watch really, and you know it was good to see him. He's a good lad. Frosty. I bumped into Phil. I was playing somewhere. Where was he? Somewhere fucking mad. Like it was up fucking. Fucking like Frosty Ways, was it? Or? Yeah, up Frosty Ways. It was. I don't know what you fucking call it now. It was like on the outskirts of fucking Southport. Yeah. It was up Formby, you know, like that kind of ways. And he was there, like, and I spoke to him there. We had a little catch up.
But I'm not on Facebook, and I think the only thing he's on is Facebook, so I've got no contact with him.
Same here, that's all I'm on.
Well, if you speak to Phil, give him my number. You've got my number. Give me number.
Yeah, get him on,
I'd like to get him on because he's been round about a few times, hasn't he? So, did you actually MC in the dock as well? Did you?
Yeah, I had a little go in the dock, just not really anything major. Just still trying to get in on the scene. I mean, the MC at the time was MC Danny.
Yeah.
So I remember getting a go with the mic off him and done about like 10-15 minutes sort of thing. But yeah, that's all I've done in the dock. But I thought I've got to get into this scene somehow.
Yeah.
And so when I started going to the big raves, I was already going to the big raves, but I found the big raves easier to get on than the smaller clubs.
Yeah.
Because you were in like a big warehouse, and like the way that the stage was, you just have barriers at the side, and like we used to do these coaches. Another Glenn, I don't know if you ever remember Glenn, who used to run the coaches to these raves.
You know what? Now you mention it, yeah. It rings a bell.
So he used to do these coaches.
So like fucking Kinetic and HelterSkelter and all that, yeah.
Dreamscape. So used to go on the coaches with him, and I started like helping him out on these coaches, going around collecting money and stuff like that, meeting people in town, and then I'd say you'd have like 2 coaches going to HelterSkelter. He'd go, you take a coach, I'll take a coach, and I'd get a pass to like it was access all areas.
Yeah.
So I'd be able to get backstage. And
kids in a fucking sweet shop now, aren't you?
Whoa. And then I'd always try and get there for the first set. So, and usually on the first set, there'd be no MC.
Yeah.
So I'd see that unattended mic again.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't leave that around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
it's like me with Keith.
So yeah, I'd just jump on and like, there'd be a few sets, jumping on for Billy Bunter, one of the early sets, and DJ Sarge, one of the early sets.
Oh, that is a name I haven't heard for a while. Fucking hell.
So, and like throughout the night, I'd sort of like, I'd get friendly with the stage manager.
Yeah.
And he'd got used to me face. So like, whenever there was no other MC on, I'd just jump on and he'd be like, yeah, sound.
Yeah.
And also you'd have like in the HelterSkelters, it'd go from jungle to hardcore.
Yeah.
And the jungle MC would never want to MC to the hardcore, so I'd just get the mic off.
It's their own style as well, isn't it? Yeah, there's difference.
I just when it'd cross over, I'd just I'd start a set off, and that's how I sort of built my name.
Yeah.
By just like blagging me way on, really, because I'd send tapes off everywhere, and they don't. I mean, I don't even think they got listened to, or maybe they got listened. Right. Maybe they got listened to and just thought, no, he's shite. But
I think it's always been the way, especially in hardcore. There's like a fucking select few. I mean, even now, if you look at a hardcore flyer, a recent hardcore flyer, I'll guarantee somebody who was DJing in the fucking or MCing in the 90s would still be on it. It's such a closed industry, and they don't like letting new people through.
Yeah, I mean, I think now there's a lot more people now breaking through.
Probably because of social media and YouTube and stuff like that. They've got a platform.
Yeah, but I don't like. I don't want it to sound like sour grapes or anything, or it is what it is. You just gotta try and do the best you can. You know what I mean?
I'm not saying he's too big for his boots, ladies and gentlemen, but he turned up here with his own tea. Okay, he had this little bag with special tea in, and I had a little note from his mum saying he's only drinking his tea.
Yeah, just room temperature water.
Yeah. It's all right. Your manager just told me. Fucking hell, get off me fucking back, will you? So what would you say your biggest accomplishment was with MCing, or your biggest event?
The biggest event I ever MC'd at, I'd say the biggest arena would have been Dreamscape.
Wow.
In Shepton Mallet. Like that main room there was just like, I think you get about like 6,000 people in there. Maybe.
Bowler's main room is fucking huge.
Bowler's main room. I MC'd in Bowler's.
Nice.
I don't know if it was the main room, to be honest with you. It was the kids' Bowler's.
Yeah.
Used to go with Christian, and he used to MC. He used to DJ at the kids' Bowler's, and it was the man was the promoter.
That's right, yeah. Was it Compulsion, was it?
I don't think the event was called Compulsion at the time. It was, what was it? I can't even think what it was called. But yeah, we used to do these kids bowlers Friday night they were, I think.
Yeah.
Friday night. And there's about like 3,000 people in there.
Shocker.
But I don't think that was the main room.
Yeah.
Because I think the main room you can probably get about like 6,000 there.
Yeah. The main, we went, like I said, we went to the Stu Allen thing the other week, and the main room, fuck me, it's I've got goosebumps on my arm now thinking about it. It was a fucking, it was a fat, oh my god. I mean, I remember like I'd come home and show me missus, and I said, yeah, there's the main room, and I was showing her the stage, and she went, wow, it's shocking, isn't it? And I panned round, and I panned round, and I panned round, and I panned round, and she's like, where's the back? I went, you can't see it. Yeah. It's fucking massive. So go on, Dreamscape was one of the biggest.
That was probably like biggest capacity, but my best memory of MCing was the Millennium Jam. HelterSkelter.
The last ever Helter.
Ever proper HelterSkelter, the Millennium Jam. And like that event, it was supposed to be all 3 arenas, the Sanctuary, the Rollers, 4 arenas I think it was supposed to be, the Sanctuary, the Rollers, the Drome, and like an old school room. And because like everyone on the Millennium, they just bumped the ticket prices up to but HelterSkelter, like when you think about it, they were only charging £100 for your ticket, and all your alcohol was free.
Yeah.
Do you know, when you think about it, that is cheap. Yeah. But everyone else was sort of like charging ridiculous prices. DJs were charging ridiculous prices, and I remember getting there, and I took a coach up for Glenn. I remember getting there and getting to the like the little box where the like all the promoters and that were, and he said, we've only got the Sanctuary open tonight, you know. And I had to go back and tell a coach full of ravers, listen, there's no Rollers arena, it's only the Sanctuary tonight. But the Sanctuary was rammed.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before, do you know what I mean? And I thought HelterSkelter just started in the Sanctuary and it finished in the Sanctuary.
It kind of makes more sense then, doesn't it? Yeah.
So, but the event before that, I'd MC'd for Dougal in
fucking hell.
Decadence.
Fucking Dougal's a fucking big name, mate.
In the Sanctuary. And at the time, I'm MCing on stage. I'd blag me way on, as I usually do. Do you know what I mean? And like, MCing for like near enough the whole set. And I remember seeing Dave, the promoter.
Dave Pratley.
From HelterSkelter. And I thought he couldn't fucking throw me off here.
Yeah.
Like that. And I'm looking over and he's like, he's just looking at me thinking, you're not supposed to be on.
Yeah, yeah.
He let me carry on, and then like I finished the set, and went over to him, went, all right, Dave, I'm Hurricane. He went, yeah, I don't know, I've heard you before.
Yeah.
Like that. So
that's gotta be a fucking trip, mate.
So yeah, and then the next event I MC'd for Dougal again. So yeah, that was like, for him to know that he'd heard me, but I'd never sort of like got any bookings off him. I'd just sort of blagged me way on.
It's nice though with something like that. I went to again bowlers many years ago now, probably about when were we now? It was probably about 12 years ago, maybe longer. And an old mate of mine, Tony, he said, Mike's coming. I said, Mike who? He went, Mike the Scarlet. I went, oh right. I said, you know Mike, don't you? I said, well, I know of him. He said, no, you know him. I went, no, I don't know, I've never met him. He went, he fucking knows you. I went, no, he doesn't. So anyway, we get sitting there, and there's Mike the Scarlet. bit fucking giddy. At the time, he was like Resonance Q and Ultra Beat. He was still pretty, he's not as big as he is now with Camel Fat, like he's fucking smashing it now. And Tony went, yeah, there's Jay. He went, all right, Jay. He went, you do all the scratching on it, don't you? I was like, fuck off, Mike the Scarlet knows who I am. I was so like with you, with Dave Pratley, you know, the fact that he recognised who you were, it's a fucking nice feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, I just like, I thought he's just going to throw me off here, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he just let me carry on, and to me that was like a little
a nod, of course,
because I weren't supposed to be on. I weren't on a flyer, but for like loads of events before that, I'd just been blagging me way on, because that's the only way I could get on. Do you know what I mean? It was like, so then for him to just, I've heard you, you know what I mean? And then...
nice one.
And then the next event, the Millennium Jam, going back to the Millennium Jam, MC'd for Dougal again, near enough the whole set, and just seeing that crowd was just like, you know,
you've gone down in history, Gary. Think about it.
Yeah,
look,
I mean,
the last ever HelterSkelter, and you weren't MCing for fucking DJ fucking Knobhead. You were MCing for fucking Dougal. You know, Dougal's a fucking mainstay. Even now, he was massive back then, and it was his dad or his brother. I think it was his dad.
He was the cameraman.
Exactly. Yeah. Double vision, was he? So a thing called double vision.
Yeah, he was the cameraman.
Yeah. Fucking hell, little family business. And Dougal's still smashing it now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's big time now.
Yeah, he is.
So yeah, and you know, when I still have the images in my head of like just looking out and seeing that crowd and hearing the noise, because the noise from Skelter was something else. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Things can come and go in your life, money can come and go, material things can come and go, but it's the memories, mate.
The memories, yeah.
They can't take away the memories.
I mean, like, I wish back then we had the phones and stuff like that, but
would it have been the same though?
I don't think it would have, because everyone, like, when you see now, I hate it now when you see people just like that. They're not even taking the event.
Yeah, enjoy the moment. They're
not even enjoying, like you say, they're not even enjoying the moment. They're just like that with the phone, and it winds me up. But
so after HelterSkelter Millennium, I think personally, and I think I've said this before on the podcast, I'm not too sure, the Millennium for me, it kind of put a final nail on the coffin for the club scene, because it in the 90s it was still, obviously the birth of the rave scene was the late 80s, and obviously the early 90s was when it was really fucking kicking, and it was like when the Millennium kicked in, and you had, like you say, clubs charging double, and you even had like local pubs charging you £25-30 to get in.
What's all that about?
So I think that's, for me, a lot of people started going, obviously more people had decks back then, obviously bargain booze and threshers with this thing, you could get your ale cheap. Supermarkets were starting to sell ale at reasonable prices as well, and I think the Millennium, people charging crazy money, and it was a bit, for some people it was a bit of an anticlimax as well, wasn't it? You know, you were paying double the prices. I imagine everywhere was fucking, you know, I don't know. I just personally think that the Millennium signifies the end of the club scene as we knew it, and obviously it's having a bit of a resurgence now, isn't it? Especially the old school stuff's coming back. But for me personally, that was a bit of a final nail in the coffin. So after the Millennium Jam and HelterSkelter, did you do more work after that?
I done little bits and bobs, like locally. I remember Ian Redman had a little night over the water, called, I think it was in the Kiss nightclub. It's probably been called a few things, but at the time it was called the Kiss nightclub. I'd done that with Cyanide for a few months. Couple of nights in the aquarium and stuff like that. I think I might have even been on a night with you somewhere. You
probably have. I mean,
in the aquarium, there was like a
I don't think we've ever met. I don't think we have. But I certainly, when I got the email the other week, I was like, yeah, fucking hell, I remember him. And I remember you being tall. I remember like glasses on. And I remember the Michael Owen lyric as well. And I always remember back then, you were seeing quite a lot with Cyanide, and I didn't know the full story of how it came about, but at the time I was like, oh, they're tight boys, you know what I mean? They're together, like, because you seem to do quite a lot together. But I don't think we've ever met. We might have. I mean,
I remember that there was like did you do was it called Distortion? I think maybe.
Yes.
A techno night.
I played there.
That. I think
I played there a couple of times.
Yeah, Scott Brown. I remember emceeing for Scott Brown there.
Yeah.
He was on.
Distortion was a lad from Canny Farm. I think his name was Mike Clark.
Yeah,
it's the same as Chicks, and he had some fucking. I think I told the story before, by the way, but I was playing in the Coliseum in Birkenhead, and I was like kind of.
Was that an old picture house?
Yes, it was.
I remember them seeing it. Do you know what?
That's funny. Yeah, it could be that. Yeah. I was kind of doing the promotions for the guy who ran it, Roy Carson.
Yeah.
I think he was a bit of a fucking gangster. If you're listening, don't put a fucking price on me head, Roy. But he was, for some reason, this guy, this Roy, just kind of took me under his wing, and he just kind of, maybe he's seen something in me, and he gave me the job as like doing the promotions. So we were doing like, at the time, I think it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, and you had the likes of Robbie G on, Doc Scott, or Doc Smith, was it? Doc Smith.
Yeah.
And Matt Healy, before Matt Healy went pretty big. He was playing there as well. And there was some MCs on, and we had a Wednesday night, and we got Scott Brown down.
Yeah, a Wednesday. That's when I
and we got Marky G and M's down. But it was a Wednesday night, but we did all right.
Yeah.
But so at the time, I got this booking for Distortion. Mike Clark had this fantastic lineup. I think off the top of my head, there was Producer, Scorpio, HMS, Sharky, Loft Groover, Ribs, and some others. And for whatever reason, and I still, it beggars belief now, the flyer was a picture of Darth Maul with Distortion across the top and this lineup. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, he'd put my name first.
Yeah.
Now, the guy who ran this fucking night in Birkenhead seen this flyer and said to me, you know, what are you doing playing this club in Liverpool? You know, he's promoting your name. I said, well, he's booked me. You know, he's gonna pay me and that. And, you know, he went, you're the headline act. I was like, if you knew anything about hardcore and fucking and techno, you'd understand. I shouldn't even be on that fucking flyer. You know what I mean? With names like Producer and the Scorpio and Sharky and all that. But yeah, got me into a bit of hot water there. So so we fucking digressed again.
Yeah, so we were just past the millennium, weren't we?
Yeah.
And after the millennium, for me, it's sort of like when I realised HelterSkelter had finished, for me, I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's all finished.
It was the end of an era.
It was the end of an era. And I sort of, like I say, I'd done a few little local gigs and stuff like that. But yeah, for me, it was like, it's all finished. And it was like the start of the internet and stuff.
So it'd be safe to say you took a bit of a back step then?
Yeah, I took a bit of a back step, and not really a bit of a back step, I just found it hard to get on in places. And like, I'm not one of them people who's like, I can't sort of like, I wouldn't say bullshit me way out, but I'm shit at liaising with people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, come on, get a job sort of thing. Yours are huge.
Yeah, you'd expect to be booked on your talents, and unfortunately that's not the case, is it?
No, but not even that. Is I think part of like the MCing and DJing thing is being able to be friendly with promoters and stuff like that. And
dare we say it?
You know, I'll be friendly with.
Dare we say it? Kiss ass.
Yeah, no, not even that. I'm a friendly guy. I'll be friendly with people, but I sort of like, I'm just not good at like liaising with promoters sort of thing. You know what I mean? And
gone are the days where you're getting gigs just based on talent. I mean, I've had run-ins with people in the past where you get booked somewhere, and you get booked to play, and if I'm going to play, I'll give it my heart and soul, and I'll always give it 100%, and I'll always make sure, you know, when you watch me play, you're entertained.
Yeah.
But it's not enough anymore.
Yeah.
They want you to promote as well, and I've had run-ins as recently as this year where people have, you know, got on vacation. You know, you're not promoting our night properly enough. I'm booked to DJ, mate. I mean, of course, I'll give it a mention on my socials and stuff like that. But I think it's not about talent anymore. It's about numbers, and I've seen it over the years. I've seen, you know, there was a group of lads a few years ago who had this night on, and they were all shocking because they were students. They had a fucking massive fan base, and all the nights were rammed. And like, we'd go on there and we play, and we didn't get the reception they got, even though, dare to say, we were better. Because it's all about, I mean, as I said before, you know, we joke like the DJ mag, top 100 DJs. It's not they're not the best DJs in the world by a fucking country mile. Nowhere near. It's a popularity contest, and it's more now. It's more now about production. If you're a good producer, by definition, you know. I remember fucking. Who was it? There was someone years ago who had like what. It might have been like Bass Hunter or something like that, and he got into like the top 20 DJs in the world because he was making tunes, and they were popular tunes. Fair play to him. I think if you're a good, and I think maybe that's where we've all kind of missed the fucking joke. Maybe that's what was needed early on to get into production, start getting some music under your belt.
It is. That's what. You know, you need to be able to get into music production now to sort of to get your name across, because if people say, oh yeah, he made that tune, the more likely to book you on an event. And I've not got any sour grapes about the scene. I think I underachieved you know, I probably could have pushed myself a bit further, but I'm a bit lazy in ways, as in like, I'll never sort of, I'll never kiss arse. Do you know what I mean?
That's not being lazy. That's having morals, mate.
I'll never bug people.
Yeah.
Well, I used to bug Glenn really to get me on.
Yeah.
I'll never.
I look when I got you. Maybe you should start bugging people a bit more.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, ladies and gentlemen. He begged me to come on this podcast. Honestly, I've had letters through my door. I've had voice messages. Please.
Been here since 6 in the morning.
It's been embarrassing. Yeah, he's been camped outside with his cup of special teas and smoking 6 o'clock.
But yeah, I mean, like back then, I was never the worst MC.
Yeah,
you know,
I remember you.
Yeah,
I remember you.
You know, I think that there was some MCs back then who was stealing a living.
Yeah.
Some DJs stealing a living.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you know, it's just, I think in life,
it's not fair.
No. In life, where you end up in life is where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah.
So
what are your thoughts on because I've had a couple of guests on, and they've talked quite openly and candidly about troubles and struggles with drugs and how they work hand in hand in the scene. Have you had any little dabbles with that?
In the rave scene, like, I don't think the rave scene would have went anywhere near where it went without drugs. Do you know what I mean?
It wouldn't.
Everyone was, you know, when I say everyone, more or less everyone was taking ecstasy, was taking...
Do you think the 60s would have been the 60s without psychedelics? Of course it wouldn't.
No. But, you know, I went to raves and had, took a few tablets, took a few other things and stuff like that. But back, when I was younger, a lot of people used to smoke weed.
And still do.
And still do. And I think, like, people used to have this, like, thing where, oh, you can't get addicted to weed. It's, you know, weed's harmless. And mate, I got addicted to it, like, bad.
Yeah.
As in, like, it really started, you know, at first, you know, you just think, oh yeah, it's a little spliff on a Saturday night or whatever. And then that Saturday leads to Sunday, and every day, it became every day where it was like, I was waking up, having a spliff, you know, I'd have my breakfast, I'd have another, and it was like, it started becoming bad.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was it started sending me down a bit of a dark path where it was like, I need to get off this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like...
Are you talking like...
It might have held me back with the MCing.
It almost certainly
because
did.
it probably made me lazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it probably held me back with me MCing, where I was like, I couldn't really be arsed, like, trying to, you know,
push yourself,
push myself sort of thing. But, you know, it might have held me back, but...
So were you at one point, do you think you were smoking every day?
I was smoking far too much every day.
Yeah.
We're wasting so much money off it.
Yeah.
And
what do you reckon you were spending on a day or a week?
I wouldn't like to think, but it, you know, it went on for far too long.
Yeah.
And I know some people now are still smoking it now, and I know weed now has got, like, you know, it's got some
medicinal
qualities to it, whereas, like, you know, it can help people with certain illnesses, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the way, like, some of these kids now are smoking that green, and it's just like, you've got someone who's just got a little crop going in the loft, spraying with all sorts of shit. Yeah. Like, you don't know what you're fucking smoking. You know what I mean?
That's the thing with drugs, and I think it's always been the case. You know, we had, obviously, in the 90s, front page news, sadly, Leah Betts died after taking an ecstasy tablet, which is obviously a tragic story, and you never want to see that. You never want to see that. You never want to see a young person passing away for whatever the cause is. But the reality is, for every front page story of a girl sadly passing away, what the papers didn't show was thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people all up and down the country having the times of their life.
Yeah.
You know, I can't stress this enough. It's horrific when someone dies, especially that age, under them circumstances. But let's not forget here, she was a child. She shouldn't have been taking drugs anyway. And dare I say it, that was an isolated incident. And it was, I truly believe when it comes to drugs, as you just said there, you've got these people who make, they're growing their own stuff. They're spraying it with God knows what, whatever. There's no control over it.
No.
The governments aren't going to win the war on drugs. Telling people no because I said so doesn't work. Telling people to not do something and not giving any alternatives is not going to work. I've got 5 kids, and my 3 older kids, I sat them down when they were about, I think they were about between the ages of 7 and 10ish, something like that. I can't remember specifically the time. But I sat them down and I said to them, I said, obviously you're in school now, you're going to hear stories about drugs and stuff like that. I said, so I'm going to tell you the truth about drugs.
Yeah.
So I said, there's certain drugs out there which when you first take them may make you feel great. You may have a fantastic time. You might have the time of your life. I said, but you also need to understand that there's drugs out there which can kill you the first time you take them.
Yeah.
There's drugs out there which can be addictive, which can ruin your life, which you can ruin your relationships, ruin your life going forward. Your potential. It can ruin your financial side of things. It can ruin your health. I said, so you need to take all this into consideration. Whereas unfortunately, a lot of parents have this no because I said so. Don't do that because I said so. And we've proved that doesn't work, because if you've got a group of kids saying to the mate, oh, one of these, the boss, the boss, and they've just got the mum saying no because I said so,
yeah,
they're gonna go with the fucking mate, aren't they? It's the same as sex. If you don't give your kids sex education, they start listening to the fucking school, the playground stories. Then, oh, you can't get pregnant the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, can't you? Yeah. If you have a shower straight after, you'll be all right, and all that kind of bollocks. If you don't give kids facts, they're gonna listen to the mates, and the mates are kids the same as them, and kids don't know shit. It's madness, isn't it? And yeah, it is peer pressure.
Peer pressure. It's just.
But yeah, until the government start to understand it, you're not going to win the war on drugs. People are always going to sell it because there's a demand for it, and wherever there's a demand, people will supply it. My opinion is this. I'm getting a bit fucking political now, but my opinion's always been the same. If you legalise marijuana, knife crime and gun crime in our country would drop through the fucking floor.
You know what, Jay? They could tax it to fuck. Like they tax ale.
I don't smoke. It's not my. It was never my thing.
Yeah, they could make a killing on it.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, but I'm surprised they don't. But
we can go to a supermarket now, Gary, and buy 20 ciggies and a bottle of vodka.
Yeah. 2
of the biggest killers in our country is heart disease due to drinking or smoking.
Yeah.
But it's taxable.
Yeah. And you know what? They could, like with the likes of weed, it has got its medicinal properties, and they could grow it properly, and they can use it to cure illnesses and stuff like that. But they don't want to cure illnesses.
Exactly. We're going deep now, but you're right.
We could go down a big rabbit hole. Yeah, but you don't probably want to go down a big rabbit hole with me, because I do go off on one, but they could,
I agree. I agree.
They could cure these illnesses, but they don't. Sick people make money. Do you know what I mean? But, yeah. So I say weed was bad for me.
Yeah. So when back to that. So you were having it every day. What was the tipping point? Was the main thing for you your mental health or your finances, or what?
Both, really. And
when we're talking now.
We're talking like about 2005, 2006 maybe. I just remember lying there in bed. I just had a spliff, and my heart was just like bum bum, like proper beating. And I thought, shit, I could die here. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I thought I was going to have a heart attack, and I just woke up the next day and was just like, no more. Yeah. I'm not fucking doing it no more. Do you know what I mean? And I just stopped. It was just like, it was either die.
Yeah.
Or stop. So I just stopped.
In the short term, did you find it difficult? Like?
Yeah, I was like proper, like, not like a smackhead, but it was hard to give up.
Of course.
But you've got to just give it up.
And that was like 2006, 2000.
That was about 2006, but
you've not smoked it at all since?
No.
Fantastic.
So some people, just have a spliff for weekend and stuff, and that's good if you can just keep it under control like that.
It's the same with drinking, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to be able to keep it under control, and you know, it's...
Fair play to you, yeah. Fucking hell. But yeah, it's true, you know, people, again, you probably listen to your mates in school. Yeah, it's not addictive, you won't get hooked. I think anything can be addictive.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, we're all addicted to our fucking phones. And all you've got to do on a Saturday night is go into your settings and look at your screen time through the week, and that'll answer the question
for you.
If
I had my way, Jay, and they just turned around tomorrow and went, everyone has got to throw their phones away.
Yeah.
And no one is going to have phones anymore.
Yeah.
I'd happily throw that in a bin.
Yeah.
Happily. It's because that's virulent.
I couldn't agree with that.
That is virulent. Like, society, do you know what I mean? Is like, people are just constantly glued to the... I am myself.
We're all guilty of it. Some worse than others, but we're all guilty of it.
I've stuck with Facebook. I'm only on Facebook, do you know what I mean? So if you look for me on Instagram, you won't find me. Or any of those other sites.
I'm going to start a black account.
Yeah. None of them nude pictures though, Jay.
What, the ones you sent me, you mean?
Yeah, I'd happily throw my phone away, but it's never going to happen, is it? You know what I mean? It's just...
So, in your younger days, you were into a bit of rock and heavy metal as well, weren't you?
Only a little bit. Like, I got into skateboarding when I was a kid. Used to love me skateboarding, BMX, and that sort of like... I was in I don't know if you ever remember Rathbone Park, the skateboard park.
Yes, I do, yeah.
So I was always hanging around there on my skateboard and stuff like that, and everyone was always playing like Iron Maiden or whatever on the ghetto blasters. On the,
Can I play with madness?
All that, so...
I've seen Maiden live. Yeah. They're fucking really good, yeah.
So I used to have like remember the old denim jackets with like, I'd have a big Iron Maiden on the back and all other patches and stuff like that. So I used to have one of those denim jackets and I'd have like a little bit of, not long hair, but you know, it was sort of like
a mullet.
Bit of a mullet, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Going round on my skateboard.
Yeah, you haven't got a mullet now though, have you?
No. It fell off.
Yeah, he got too tall for his hair. So what about music production? Ever something you ever dabbled in?
Never really dabbled in music production. And, you know, if someone wants to maybe do a tune, hit me up or whatever, you know, do a little tune, I'll throw a few lyrics over it.
I might bear that in mind myself.
Over a tune, I've got, you know, I've still got some material there that I've not even used, you know what I mean? I should...
We'll have when we finish this, we'll have a little chat about that, because obviously I'm having a little dabble myself in music production. That'd be nice to have me up there.
You know, I could throw a few lyrics over a few beats or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never really... Because for me, with like technology and stuff like that, I'm proper shit with technology. Do you know what I mean? I can use a computer. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I can use my phone. Yeah. And stuff like that. But
is that your horse and cart on our drive?
Yeah.
I thought it was. Yeah. He's just shit all over me fucking begonias. I don't even know what a fucking begonia is.
So yeah, I've never really dabbled in music production sort of thing, but I could do it. When someone says, you know, give us some lyrics, I can do some lyrics, you know.
We'll bear that in mind. So we're going to finish off now with some Christmas quickfire questions. How very festive was that? Took me fucking ages making that. MC Hurricane, I will take your first answer and your first answer only. Are you sitting comfortably?
Go on.
That was your first question. Best Christmas present you've ever received?
Oh, I remember my first bike, a boxer. Do you ever remember boxers?
No.
They were like in between a grifter and a striker.
I remember a grifter.
And it was a boxer.
Yeah.
Probably my first ever bike with stabilisers on, but them stabilisers quickly came off. Probably my first bike. Yeah. As a kid, yeah.
Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2?
1, definitely.
Viennetta or Christmas pudding with custard?
Viennetta, but it's got to be mint Viennetta.
Standard. Slade or Wizard?
Slade.
Gatto or cheesecake?
Cheesecake.
What flavour cheesecake?
Or lemon cheesecake. Oh. Or New York cheesecake.
New York
cheesecake.
For me, it's New York or toffee. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
I'll say it is, yeah. I'll say it is.
The celebrity you'd most like to have Christmas dinner with?
Oh. It's a tough one. Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
Even though he's dead, like, well...
Well, that's it. Living or dead, it's fine, yeah. Apart from Mariah Carey, name one decent Christmas song after the 80s.
Oh, God. Do you know what? I hate Christmas songs.
It's a trick question. There's no such fucking thing, mate. All the Christmas songs, the classics, the 70s or 80s, aren't they? There's nothing. Mariah Carey's the exception, but after that, there was fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Best Christmas movie ever?
I'll go with Santa Claus the movie, because that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
Other answers you could have was Elf or The Christmas Chronicles.
Yeah.
Matchsticks or After 8 Minutes?
After 8.
Will it snow on Christmas Day?
I hope not.
What, in your opinion, is the most overrated Christmas song?
Ooh.
There's always one that everyone goes on about, and I just think it's fucking shite. And I'll get lambasted for this, but
I'll go with Band-Aid.
Really?
Yeah.
My one's that fucking It's Christmas Eve, my friend. Fucking Fairy Tale New York. I can't fucking stand that. I really can't. And I know there's going to be people hit me up in the comments if you'd agree, but I'll get some shit for this because it's a very popular song. I just can't fucking stand it. Rank these in order: Quality Street, Celebrations, Miniature Heroes, Roses.
Oh. Miniature Heroes 1.
Number 1.
Celebrations number 2.
Yeah.
Roses 3. And there was a Quality Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quality Street last.
How ironic that they call them Quality Street in this shite.
Yeah. Yeah.
You asked me not to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Go on.
Rocky 3 or Rocky 4?
I'm going to go with Rocky 4.
Rocky 4.
Even though
it's a tough one, isn't it?
Out of all the Rocky movies, I seen Rocky 3 first.
Yeah, I did.
I seen Rocky 3 first, then watched Rocky 1 and 2, then went to pictures to see Rocky 4.
Same, exactly the same.
But Rocky 4 for me, do you know what does it for Rocky 4? Is the soundtrack.
Soundtracks.
It's just...
So I think I've mentioned this in the past. My first inclination to ever be a DJ was listening to me Walkman, and I had the Rocky 4 soundtrack on obviously on tape, and I used to when it used to build up, and I used to bring the volume down slightly, and then it went din 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 din. I'd bring the volume up, and I remember thinking, lying in bed, probably 8 or 9, thinking,
if you put No Easy Way Out on now, I'll start shadowboxing in your kitchen.
Exactly, yeah, it's standard. I mean, for women, you've got Dirty Dancing in Grease. Yeah. For men, it's Rocky and Top Gun, isn't it? Yeah. And final question: what's the best podcast you've ever been on?
The Joe J Viper.
Hey. Just say you've been on Joe Rogan's podcast. So that's it for me, mate. Yeah. So thanks for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome, Jay.
I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who's been on the show so far. Going back even right from the start, a little bit of a history lesson now. So it came about almost by accident. I was working for Back to the Dock, and I spoke to Lee Hall, and I said to him, do you want me to do a little interview? I'll put it on me. I had a website at the time. The website's gone now. And he said, yeah, I'll do the interview. And then I did it. Got a bit of feedback off that. And then I reached out to Glenn Cyanide and I said, do you want to do an interview? Yeah. And he went, yes, I couldn't believe it. I was fucking bit starstruck. Like, did the interview with Glenn. And then I was talking to somebody in work or on my phone. And I said, I'm going to speak to Rob Kane. And he went, oh, for the podcast? I said, oh, it's not a podcast. Yeah. And he went, it is. And I went, no, it's just interviews. He went, it's a podcast. And I went, you know what, you've got a point. So then I put the little jingle together. And so Rob Kane was the first episode. It was actually a podcast. And then I spoke to John Edge and DJ Macker. I've had DJ Vibes on, Les Calvert, Robbie Edwards, Mark Simon, JFMC, Paul OH, ADF, your good self. I hope I haven't missed anyone out there, but just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's been on the show.
Just before we go, Jay, as well, just one thing we didn't touch on.
Go on.
I want to give a shout out to Mousy, Dave Hughes, House of Hardcore.
Yeah.
He got in touch with me recently.
Yeah.
And that was the last gig I'd done.
Yeah. So at that point, how long had it been since you'd MC'd?
I hadn't MC'd for about like 18 years.
Wow.
And then he just phoned me out of the blue. Messaged me out of the blue and was like, "Do you want to do this gig?"
Yeah.
House of Hardcore in Birkenhead, and I'd done that last month.
Yeah.
So I want to big up his event.
Yeah.
And big up him because.
Well, there's a good chance then. In the new year, you and I will be on a flyer again together.
Yeah,
I imagine.
Hopefully, mate.
Because I did a bit of work for Mousy recently. I played for them last year. Played twice at that event. I played once for Macca for Real Artist in the downstairs room.
Yeah.
And then I finished off with a guy called Smash in the main room. I think it was Smash. Yeah, it was Mike Smash.
Yeah.
We finished off in the main room. But yeah, so big shout to Mousy D as well.
Yeah, shout to his event, yeah.
Another guest that will be, House of Hardcore. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Also, a shout to me wife, who's also my other MC partner in crime.
Really?
MC Lyrical G.
Really?
So we just mess about now and then.
Yeah.
You know,
it's all coming out now, isn't it?
Few little bands, but yeah, she's me partner in crime.
Yeah?
Yeah, my wife, yeah.
Okay, big shout out to Hurricane's wife. What's her name?
Lyrical G.
Big shout out to Lyrical G if you're listening. Okay, so I'm going to finish. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been on the show so far. Like I say, I hope I haven't missed anyone off. Silly G was another name I had on. And Stevie Wonder, another one. Yeah. I hope I haven't missed anyone off now. I think I've got through everyone. But I also want to thank all the listeners as well. I've had some fantastic feedback. And hopefully in the new year we're going to go from strength to strength and get some more amazing guests on. I've had a fantastic time talking to everybody. It's nice to catch up with old people from the past. I've had some obviously more up and coming DJs and MCs on. I've had some legends on, and that will continue through to the new year. So thanks to everyone who's been on the show. Thanks to everyone who's listened. Thanks to everyone who's commented. I don't get no benefit from this financially. All the equipment I've paid for myself. The biggest gift to me is when I get people reaching out like yourself saying I've listened to all your episodes and I've loved them. So thanks again. It really means a lot. So I'm going to finish off now with a bit of music. This is a track I started remixing recently, and this is my version of Now Is the Time by Scott Brown and Rab S, and this is the J Viper remix. Enjoy.
The Couture 303 podcast with J Viper.